From the shards of tattered dreams I rose, unwilling, tossed upon tides of pain that flowed and ebbed and left me searingly awake, and more revoltingly alive.
Hi YouTube, it's Neberos, and we're doing Rev Says Desu again, this time about the VShojo situation. So,
Hey, what's up guys, Rip here. Sorry
well,
for the lack
alright,
of an
there we go.
active VTuber intro for this video.
I didn't
I'm
even
currently
notice.
traveling and using my laptop that runs like a potato.
Traveling
and of
must be
course,
nice.
as I'm traveling, the biggest VTuber news of the year has to drop. But the show
You
must
mean
go
apart from
on.
Gura
So
and
today we're
Mume and
talking
Fauna
about
all
VShojo, one of the biggest
graduating?
VTuber agencies in the world, especially in their English-speaking branch, which has some of the biggest English talents in the entire scene. But right now, a lot of people are making the very logical claim that VShojo's English branch just imploded over the past 24 hours. And for an
Sure
agency
did.
whose entire moniker is talent freedom, well, it appears that that also meant freedom from your revenue sources, including revenue that you generated for charity. Now, over the past couple of months, it's been very rocky for VShojo. They've had some of their biggest English-speaking talents suddenly leave, including people like Matarakon, who back in April said this: VShojo made the decision to part ways with me, which I always found that language to be very interesting, right? It's not exactly a very neutral language. It sounds like things didn't end very well. And around that time, multiple other large English talents left the agency, and there's not that many English talents in their agency, so people like me were saying, hey, all these sudden leavings of the agency, that kind of doesn't seem right. Like something must be going on. And I
Yep,
was called a doomsayer, and I
I
was
agree.
being told I was being dramatic about it. And you know what? In a way, I did fall short. I didn't predict just how bad things are. And
Or how
unless
big
you've
they
been
would
living under
get.
a rock or you haven't been on social media over the past 24 hours, the big news is that Iron Mouse has left VShojo, which
Yeah, so VShojo was one of the first VTuber agencies I ever saw. In fact, my first introduction to VTubers was through Natasha Nyanos. Um, and from there, I found like Project Melody. I still remember a Minecraft clip of her kicking ducks. Um, Silvervale screams were amazing in Phasmophobia. Iron Mouse I first heard through Phasmophobia streams as well as Vebe. Um, yeah, so and they were all Vebe wasn't at the time, but Nyano's Melody and Silvervale were all part of VShojo back when I started watching in 2001. Nyano's being my first VTuber experience. She was doing Fall Guys commentary after having fallen herself. Anyway,
she was clearly one of the biggest, not just VTubers in the entire scene, but one of the biggest streamers in the world. And she was really
yep.
kind of the heart and soul of VShojo. She doesn't really need much of an introduction. I'm sure you've heard of her. At one point last year during a subathon, she raised an immense amount of money, not just getting subs to the point of being the, at that
How much money was it, Rev? You can't find that. That's why he's like, she raised an immense amount of money. Yeah, that's all right.
time the most subscribed to Twitch streamer of all time,
Yeah, she
but
beat
also
Kai
raising
Cenat as well.
infinite
A few
money
times.
for her charity of choice, which is the Immune Deficiency Foundation, which is
hmm
something that is personally valuable to her because
And at the time of the recording, her community has raised over $700,000 for the Immune Deficiency Fund. So, uh, yeah, good job to them.
she has an immune disease like that covered by that charity. And in her explanation of why she left VShojo, she made it very clear that there was a lot wrong going on with this agency. I'm just going to play like the first minutes of her video because it really just sums up everything you really need to know, that these talents, including Iron Mouse, have been financially screwed over by VShojo. But worse yet, the charity of choice, in this case the Immune Deficiency Foundation, was screwed over by VShojo, who did not bring over funds raised in charity events made by Iron Mouse.
I am leaving VShojo. Unfortunately, I recently found out that for the past couple of months, I have been misled by VShojo. With the information that I currently have, I believe that I am owed a significant amount of funds, which
Now, some of the talents who have come forward since have said they haven't been paid since September last year. You realize that's almost a full year at this point. It's like 10 months or so. What, we're in July, August, yeah, 10 months. So, I mean, you think of it, that's if it's even just like $1,000 they should have been paid, that's like $10,000. Not a lot. Well, yeah, it is. $10,000 is a lot, but I'm sure they made a lot more than that. But that's just to give you an idea of the scope. Like, not being paid for a year, I think it's damn good of Mousy to and the rest of them to have stayed for as long as they did after that.
I have not been paid. And most importantly, the thing that hurts me the most is that the Immune Deficiency Foundation, which is the most important charity to me, and also the reason why I'm here today, is owed over $500,000 from VShojo. I know that this is a lot, and it's
Well, they're getting that with interest from you directly this time.
very important for me to be honest with all of you. I really want to tell you everything, but unfortunately, right now, I have been instructed by my attorney to wait for more of the legal procedure to unfold. So one day, I will be able to tell you the full story.
You know what? Obviously, it's bad enough they're screwing over talents like Iron Mouse, right? Someone who's clearly very loyal and, in many regards, doing them a favor by sticking around with this organization for so long. But it gets even worse.
I mean, yeah, she's been with VShojo since before 2021, so like, yeah, you'd have thought they'd have treated her better.
Charity she works with is so personally valuable to her on so many levels. And you screw them over basically in her name. She raises these funds and they never make their way to the Immune Deficiency Foundation. And this is such a black and white thing when you really think about it, because she was trusting them to make these payments in one way to protect her anonymity, to have this kind of mediary between who's paying her and how she's receiving it. And this was a really bad situation because it's simple. She gets paid from Twitch, you get paid once a month. They would have the funds the month after that subathon. And it would be just as easy as that, collecting it, giving it over to the charity. And they didn't do that. And here we are a year later, they still haven't done that. And we'll talk more about this, but I think it's very obvious that VShojo is going under. And that's not just on the English side, it's on the Japanese speaking side.
Yeah, I've heard that very, very, very many of their talents, even on the JP side, along with the likes of Kason, they've left. Almost the entire VShojo English branch has left, including like Henya, Melody. Well, I think Henya was JP, but including like Henya, Melody, Hime, Hajime Hime. That was crazy. Kuro's left as well. Yeah, they're watching total organ failure right now.
And they're strapped for cash. And I don't know where it's going. I don't know what they do that's so grandiose that would cost so much money that they have to literally take these charity funds to pay their own employees and their own organization first. It's just really, really bad. And the fallout from this has been cataclysmic for VShojo. Now you can see people like CWA, who helped raise a lot of money for the Immune Deficiency Foundation. He said, well, VShojo better get cycling and start raising some money.
Yep.
Yeah. They pretty much have to cycle across the world 10 times to have a chance at making up for what they did here. It's not very good. Now, of course,
in all likelihood, they'll have to rebrand.
A direct link to the Immune Deficiency Foundation, and they've raised over $100,000 since she released her video, and I'm sure it's much higher than that by the time you're seeing this video. I'll put a link to it.
Last I
in
saw
the
was
description if you want to check it out
700,000
and help out with this
plus
Tiltify campaign here. But yeah, VShojo, they look horrible to even the most forgiving eyes here.
Yeah,
they don't look good right now, based on just the things I've told you. But of course, things have continued to get worse. So multiple artists.
I want to read this quick. Nowhere near what Mouse is going through, but for the past year, VShojo has been habitually late in paying me for commissions, sometimes leaving thousands of dollars of my invoices unpaid for months at a time. I tried to be patient, but knowing they were stealing charity money, okay, I have thousands of dollars of unpaid work from them too. Had to chase people down just to make sure that my friends got paid. They even hired someone to help with music stuff, but I ended up managing everything while they got paid for my work.
Have come out
Okay.
and said, hey,
I don't know either of these
I guess
people.
this is the
Shira Beat
time to share. I've been
sounds familiar,
unpaid
but I
for many
can't
different
say
things.
Starlight does.
And I'm not surprised. If they're not paying people like Iron Mouse or charities, yeah, I doubt they were paying kind of like independent contractors, these
Yeah,
third-party artists who are typically going to feel pretty intimidated to speak out against VShojo because they might get dogpiled and they might, well, if they spoke out, they would lose work with the company probably forever. I mean, that's just obvious, right?
yeah.
But yeah, it gets worse.
Henya,
The artists are
Haruka, yeah,
one
they're
thing,
gone.
but the talents, that's even worse. And at this point, it seems like, as far as I can tell, virtually every single English-speaking member of VShojo
Fruit
has
left,
dropped
Kason,
VShojo
Michi,
from their
Amelie.
name, all the way from Henya, to Haruka, to Fruit, Kason, Michi, Amelie. It goes on and on, right? This is, quite frank,
Now, it's worth noting that Kason and Kuro were already planning to leave VShojo this month. Kuro said that he had the meeting to leave 11 days ago. Kason said that she's been in negotiations to leave since like last month sometime. Probably owing to lack of payment, but yeah.
the end of the English branch. I don't think there's anything really to save here at this point. I don't think that's doomsaying. They seem very motivated together. A lot of the people on this list have spoken out about this and shown their supports for Iron Mouse and also shared their disappointment with VShojo. In fact, people have gone beyond that. Kason, I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with her.
Hmm.
She has, like, right as I'm recording this
I saw
morning,
bits of this.
came out with a live stream where she shared a lot of horrible details, and some of it's still being fleshed out because there's a portion of it that's in Japanese. But she is someone who shared that she has not been paid in almost 2 years from the company. That is unbelievable, especially for someone like Kason, who's a hybrid in sort of the way she does her entertainment. She speaks both Japanese and English. She's a very valuable member of the company, just like Iron Mouse.
Yep.
And she also hasn't been paid an extended period of time. That is really hard to.
Now, I don't know why Kason left Hollow Live as Kiryu Koko, but um, it had to be better than not being paid, that's for sure.
Well, on top of that, she brought in one of the officials from the Japanese side and was talking with him. This is, again, this is part that's being worked through in the translations. But it seems like the company is going bankrupt. And that's what's going on here. They can't pay anyone beyond their core staff. Like it's falling apart right in front of everyone's faces. And Legal Mindset's been talking about this, and I'm sure he's gonna have a field day with this because it's gonna be a very big hot topic.
Another note from Kason's stream regarding staff being paid first. They had to pay the staff due to clear labor law violations. If they didn't pay full-time staff, they are banking on the ambiguity of VShojo talent as independent contractors to shaft them out of payment. That is scummy. Your talent should be regarded as staff, and if that's the case. But you see, yeah, I understand what he's saying. This way they can get out of paying the talents and pay their staff. So, yeah, but yeah, I would, if it were me running the place, again, I don't know if it's a good business decision, but if it were me running the VShojo, I would then just have my talents as in the books as full-time staff.
For a while, especially legally. And he's saying another note from Kason's stream regarding staff being paid first. They had to pay the staff.
At least that way, then, if they don't make a lot of like donors, if they have a slow month on Twitch or whatever, they at least get something. You know, it doesn't have to be much. You pay them the barest minimum, right? And then they get because VShojo still takes a portion of what they make off Twitch, right? At least I think that's how it works. So putting them down as full-time staff, they're entitled then to a minimum wage. At least, and then they still keep the portion of what they earn through Twitch for themselves, because Twitch takes, then VShojo takes, and then so at least then you're kind of protecting them, right?
Due to clear labor law violations if they didn't pay full-time staff. They are banking on the ambiguity of VShojo talents as independent contractors to shift them out of payment. And actually,
Shaft them,
Shiloh is
Rev.
someone who shared that she was approached by VShojo, and she was reading through the contract and said, no thanks, because the way it was structured was basically leaving all the power to VShojo and leaving the talents in a very vulnerable spot, especially if things go wrong. And that's exactly what's going on here. Things are going very, very wrong. This has been an absolute disaster. The Japanese side is another thing, but they're admitting pretty much that they're bankrupt as well. And how do you survive this? I don't think there's any way, right? If they're already in the red and they just lost their biggest star with Iron Mouse, and now they're losing the entire English branch, which is very strong, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about like Niji Sanji, where like the English speaking branch is almost a liability at times because they only make up a tiny fraction of the overall revenue compared
Yeah, and many of the talents are batshit crazy.
to the Japanese side. But no, VShojo has a very strong English speaking side, and it's a shame. This is really a big shame. And yeah, I think it's safe to say we're going to see another round of indie VTubers returning back to their previous accounts. And with VShojo, they can take their IP with them, which is probably the only good thing left at this point. But
so Iron Mouse, Michi Chibi, K-Sun, Henya, Project Melody, they all stay who they are. There's no need for them to go back to past life accounts.
whether or not they want to stick with those IPs that are connected with VShojo or create a new IP, we'll just have to wait and see. But for now, that's going to do it for the situation. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of follow-up to this, so if there is, and pretty much when there is, I will be covering that. But again, my apologies. I happen to be on the road the one day this happens, and I'm working with no Wi-Fi actually. I'm working with a hotspot that gets about 1 megabyte per minute. That's been fun.
Nobody's too bothered by
the show must
that,
go
Rev.
on as always. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below.
I share my thoughts through reaction videos now. Yeah, so VShojo messed up in a big way. It's clear, like, if they're all bankrupt, it's clear that there's either huge amounts of corruption at the top or just a really, really bad financial management. As for the talents, they'll go on. They'll continue to be successful and do it as indie talents. What happens with VShojo from this point on, I don't know. But either way, whether it's corruption or really bad financial management, they've kind of done it to themselves, so I have zero sympathy. And this from a guy who was actually was going to audition in the next round of VShojo talents. Guess not. Hey. Anyway, that's it for now. Remember to check Starforge and Poggers for if you need to be fueled and powered. You can check out my Poggers and Starforge. And yeah, as always, link to the original video will be down in the description down below. I'll also see about linking some other videos like K-Sun's video, Henya's video, and the rest of them. So yeah, with that being said, sorry about the scuffed audio. I haven't narrowed it down yet. It seems to be an equalizer issue. I'm just crap with equalizers, so still working on that. But for now, this is what I've got. It's bare bones basic. But yeah. I guess that's going to be it for now. See you later.